Hey everybody, welcome back. Our story for today is The Matatu by Eric Walters, and Eva Campbell did the illustrations. This is a Kamba story from Kenya, and this is read with permission from Access Copyright on behalf of the publisher Orca Books. Babu, hurry, or we will miss it, Kyoko said to his grandfather. I don't have any hurry left. His grandfather leaned on his cane. Don't worry, if we miss this one, we will catch the next. For years, Kyoko had watched the Matatus dropping off and picking up passengers at the village market. When the Matatus drove away, leaving Kyoko in a cloud of dust, he always dreamed of one day climbing on board too. Today, for the first time, to celebrate his 5th birthday, he would be. Can't you move a bit faster? He asked, taking his grandfather's hand. This is fast enough. You run ahead and ask the conductor to wait. Kyoko raced towards the market. He passed huts, houses, and stalls, not even glancing at the sweet mandazi for sale. He ran past people, push carts, and bicycles. Then he sought the Matatu. A crowd of passengers waited to board. The roof was heavy with bags of maize, bundles of grass, a bed frame, a mattress, and 3 chairs. Kyoko looked for his grandfather. He couldn't see him anywhere. Another Matatu would arrive in an hour. But Kyoko had waited so long already, he didn't want to wait any longer. Sir, he called up to the conductor, could you please wait for my grandfather? You must think your grandfather is very important if you believe you can keep an entire Matatu waiting for him. His grandfather was wise, and a grandfather to 37. He is important, Kyoko said, and here he comes. His grandfather walked slowly up the dirt road. He nodded at the conductor and winked at Kyoko before climbing the steps. Partway down the aisle, he stopped. Kyoko peered around his legs. There were only a few single seats remaining. They wouldn't be able to sit together. Kyoko's grandfather spoke a few quiet words. 3 men stood to offer their seats. Kyoko looked back to see if the conductor had noticed how important his grandfather was, but the conductor was too busy. When the driver started the engine, the Matatu rumbled to life. Kyoko slid in beside the window. He looked out at the market for a familiar face to wave to and saw only strangers. As the Matatu started down the road, 2 dogs chased after it, barking. Kyoko waved at the dogs. They didn't wave back and disappeared in a cloud of dust. The Matatu picked up speed. It wove from one side of the road to the other, avoiding ruts and bumps and potholes. How long will it be to Machakos? Kyoko asked. Do you want the ride to be over already? His grandfather asked. Of course not. It could take 1 hour, or it could take 10, or it could not happen. Not happen? Kyoko asked. Sometimes the Matatu breaks down, his grandfather said. The Matatu began to slow. Was it broken? No, it was only stopping for more passengers. The driver pulled over and the conductor jumped off. Clouds of dust billowed in through the windows and door. Kyoko covered his face. Too much dust! His grandfather laughed. I'm surprised you are troubled by it. I've seen you playing in so much dust I couldn't tell where it stopped and you started. When the Matatu started moving again, another barking dog chased after them. Why do dogs always chase Matatus? Kyoko asked. You don't know? Kyoko shook his head. All right, I will tell you the story. Kyoko loved his grandfather's stories. But before I tell you the story, I want you to watch for goats and sheep as well as dogs. Goats and sheep? Kyoko asked. Yes, my grandson. Watch for them as we drive. Kyoko wanted to hear the story. Why did he have to watch for goats and sheep when he had only asked about the dogs? He looked out the window. The Matatu moved quickly or slowly, depending on the road. Passengers and their packages came and went. The aisle filled with people. They gripped the railing above their heads as the Matatu swerved from side to side. The conductor picked his way down the aisle, collecting fares, making change, and giving tickets. "All the way to Machakos?" he asked Kyoko's grandfather. "Yes, to the end." 18 shillings for two." 18? His grandfather asked. "He is so small you should only charge half the fare for him." "He is small. If you want a cheaper fare, we can tie his feet together like the chickens and put him on the roof." For a moment, Kyoku thought they were serious. But then the men laughed. His grandfather handed the conductor a 20-shilling note. "You have 2 shillings on balance," the conductor said, as he handed their tickets to Kyoku's grandfather and moved on. "Babu, he did not give you your change," Kyoku said. "He owes you 2 shillings." "You are smart with numbers for someone so young," his grandfather said. "The conductor has no change, but he will give me 2 shillings when we arrive." He showed Kyoku the ticket. "These 2 marks are the 2 shillings on balance." He paused. "Have you been looking for the animals?" "I have seen a lot of goats. Well, at least their tails," Kyoku said. "They always run off when we pass." "And the sheep?" "I saw 2. The sheep just stand around." "Keep looking," his grandfather said. Kyoku turned back to the window in time to see several goats bolt into the bushes. Again and again, dogs barked and chased the Matatu. Kyoku didn't see many sheep. The few he did see didn't seem to notice the Matatu. "Are you ready to tell me about the animals?" "Yes, Babu. The dogs bark and chase after us. The goats run away." "What about the sheep?" Kyoku shrugged. "They do nothing." "It is not possible to do nothing. They must do something. They stand in the fields beside the road. Sometimes they look at us, and sometimes they don't. They don't run away from us, and they don't run towards us." "Okay, good. Now I will tell you the story." "Once, long ago, there was a dog, a goat, and a sheep," Kyoku's grandfather said. "They were going to Machakos. It was too far to walk, so they decided to take a Matatu." Kyoku laughed. "Animals do not ride in Matatus." "Didn't you see the chickens being loaded onto the roof?" "But that's only on the roof, not inside the Matatu." "Remember, this was long ago. After the dog, the goat, and the sheep boarded the Matatu, the conductor came to collect their fares." Kyoku laughed again. "Animals do not have money." "Well, not after they spend it all on Matatu rides," his grandfather said. The 2 women sitting behind them chuckled. "But where would animals carry money?" Kyoku asked. "Where do you think they would carry it?" "In their mouths?" "Exactly," his grandfather says. "You are so smart." Kyoku's grandfather continued. "The conductor told the dog his fare was 5 shillings. Dogs pay less than people? It was a long time ago. The dog gave the conductor a 10-shilling piece. The conductor handed him a ticket with 5 strokes on balance. Like the 2 strokes we got," Kyoku said. "Yes," his grandfather said. When he asked the goat for her fare, also 5 shillings, the goat showed him a 100-shilling note. The goat had that much money? Yes, I think she was selling her milk. The conductor did not have enough money to give her change. He said, "Goat, after I collect from the other passengers, I will have change. You can pay me when we arrive." "What about the sheep?" Kyoku asked. The sheep had 5 shillings, which he gave to the conductor. Sheep are such agreeable creatures. "Do you know what happened next?" his grandfather asked. "No," Kyoku said. His grandfather turned around to the 2 women behind them. "Do either of you know?" he asked. They shook their heads. "Then I will tell you." Kyoku's grandfather smiled. When they arrived at the market in Machacos, the sheep was the first to get off. I think he was going to sell his wool. Then the dog got off. But as the dog and the conductor talked, "Dogs can't talk," Kyoku said. "Just because you don't understand their barking does not mean dogs can't talk." So, while the dog and the conductor spoke, the goat snuck off the Matatu. "But the goat had not paid her fare," Kyoku exclaimed. The conductor saw the goat running away and yelled, but she didn't stop. He shouted at the driver, and they drove after the goat, leaving the dog behind in a cloud of dust. "Had the conductor given the dog his 5 shillings on balance?" Kyoku asked. "No," his grandfather said, and when the dog remembered, he chased after the Matatu, barking for his money. His grandfather paused. "So now do you know why the animals act as they do?" "Well, the sheep does not notice the Matatu because he paid his fare. The goat turns and runs away because she still owes her fare," Kyoku said. "And the dog chases after the Matatu to get the money he is owed. I would bark too if the conductor owed me money." His grandfather howled with laughter. "Now you know the story, and now we have arrived." The Matatu came to a stop, and the passengers filed off. "Babu, you said you wanted to buy me a present for my birthday." "Yes, I did." "Rather than a present, could you give me a shilling?" "Then you could purchase what you want. You are such a wise boy." "Could I have 5 shillings?" Kyoku asked. "That is a large amount. I have so many grandchildren. I cannot give all of them 5 shillings for their birthdays." "Please," Kyoku said, "I am the youngest." His grandfather smiled. "You certainly are the one who makes me laugh the most." He dug into his pocket and handed a 5-shilling piece to Kyoku. His grandfather stood up and shuffled off the Matatu. Kyoku watched the conductor give his grandfather the 2 shillings that he was owed. He was relieved. He didn't want to think about his grandfather chasing after the Matatu and barking. Kyoku jumped off the Matatu and approached the conductor. "Here, this is for you," he said, holding out the 5-shilling piece. "Why do you want to give me this?" "It is for the goat." The conductor looked confused. "The goat?" "Yes," Kyoku said, and pressed the coin into the conductor's hand. Kyoku held up one finger the way his grandfather did when he had something important to say. "Now that you have the money from the goat, you be sure to give the dog back the money you owe him." Then Kyoku turned and hurried off to catch up with his grandfather. And that's the story. There are a couple author's notes in the back. If you like the story, come down to the library and pick it out yourself. You'll be able to read the author's notes and read the story again.